My name's Blake.
All right, and where do you get information about who you're voting for?
Normally online or a news network.
You use like social media or?
I try to, yeah.
Yeah.
I try to get more than one source.
And do you think it's important about where you get your information?
Oh yeah, definitely.
My name is Delaney Connor. I am 21 years old and I am a public history major.
Where do you get your news?
Primarily I'll get my news from the Washington Post, but also I like to listen to NPR's Morning Edition, BBC NewsHour, and then their podcast, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is kind of like the news recap of the week. That was pretty fun.
Do you think it's important to be aware of where your news comes from?
Absolutely. Not only do you need to know the angles and biases that come along with certain news media, but you need to be aware of that to establish your own opinion and accept that some sources will assert their own view, I would say, I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, you need to be aware. That way you can form your own opinion and be aware of what certain news will tell you on the same story, but check out for the different angles. You need to check out for even like specific reporters, where they come from and how they feel about things. Yeah, it's pretty important.
Olivia Wozniak, nursing and freshman.
Where do you get your news from?
Snapchat and Daily Mail.
Do you trust to get your news from there?
Yes, I do.
And do you think it's important to know where your news comes from?
Yes.
What's your name?
Colin Watson.
And how do you get information about who you're voting for?
Usually I get my information from social media.
All right, anything that's important about where you get it from?
Usually it's a lot of like media pages like Fox News and stuff like that.
My name is Corey DiMarino. I'm 19 years old and my major is graphic design.
Where do you get your news?
Well, I like to read. I guess just word of mouth most of the time. Web articles.
Do you think it's important to be aware of where your news comes from?
Definitely, because you want to make sure the sources are reliable.
News from a variety of sources. There is one particular guy I really enjoy listening to named Philip DeFranco. He's comedic, but he also tries to be very direct and truthful and objective in the way he presents the news, which I think is extremely important for people to be aware of. I also check online from a lot of different articles from major reputable news sources and then kind of compare and contrast, because every article has inherent bias, and it's extremely important to be aware of that bias and be aware of what facts may or may not contradict what any single article has presented. So I think it's important to get a decent mix-up.
Tracy Williams. I am a biology pre-vet major. I get my news from mostly Twitter and sometimes Facebook, and I think it's important to be aware of where you get your news because you don't want to get inaccurate news from anywhere else.